Okay, so according to the previous video where we've talked about the information recalling concept, we said it's divided into two things. The first one is primacy and recency effect, okay, and the second one is the serial position effect. So the concept says that if the words are said at the beginning of the list or at the beginning of the thing, of the conversation, of whatever, then they are stored in the long-term memory and recalled later on. If the words are recalled or are said or are heard at the very end of the list or at the very end of the conversation, then they are also recalled because they are going to be stored in the short-term memory. What's going to be kind of forgotten are the words in the middle. Now, this slide shows Murdock's serial position curve. We've talked about Murdock more frankly في عادة العرب اللي عملناها في الفيديو اللي فات. Okay, this time we're taking it more seriously and formally. So if you look at the graph in front of you, you'll find that there is a graph saying the percentage of words recalled. Okay, down there we have the beginning of the list, the middle of the list, the end of the list. And as you can see the curve, the primacy effect is high and the recency effect is high, whereas the drop surge is with the middle words. So basically, it is as the primacy and recency effect suggests. What did Murdock do? Murdock did a presentation. The aim behind an experiment. The aim behind the experiment was to provide evidence for the existence of separate short and long-term stores, meaning the short-term memory, the STM, and the long-term memory, the LTM, are entirely different. They are not the same form of storage memory in the multi-store model of memory. Okay, what did he do? He brought participants. They were all psychology students. Okay, he presented them with 20 words at the rate of 1 word per second, and then they were asked to recall as many words as they could in 90 seconds in any order, which is called a free call. The test was repeated with the same participants over a few days with a different list every time. Okay, and the results were the same. Words at the end were recalled fast because they are recent, they are still fresh, they are in the short-term memory. Words at the beginning were also recalled well, but not that fast because of the primacy effect, the long-term memory. Words in the middle were not recalled. And the conclusion for that is Murdock concluded that this provides evidence for separate short-term memory and long-term memory stores, which supports the multi-store model of memory. Okay? The last words were in short-term memory and the first words were rehearsed in long-term memory, but the ones in the middle were in neither. Okay, now the support for Murdock's finding in further studies, he varied the number of words and the presentation time and found that the primacy and the recency effects occurred in all variations. So he had the same result. Okay, let's check the evaluation of this. So we have why the study is important. You'll always find that in an evaluation. And the limitations of the study, and you'll always find that also in the evaluation. We have one importance in this evaluation, which is providing evidence for the existence of separate stores. So we have separate stores like the STM and the LTM. They are separate, they are not the same. Whereas the limitations are 3. The first one, it lacks ecological validity. What do we mean by it lacks ecological validity? First of all, it is not environmentally true. It does not relate to our everyday life. Remembering word lists is not the type of memory task that people do daily. We do not go around studying lists every day. The second one is that Murdock's participants were all of a similar age and they were all studying psychology. So if we change the culture, if we change the field of education, if we change the field of work, Or if we change their nationalities, for example, the answers might be different. Okay? The third one, which is some psychologists believe that it's very simple. You cannot just experiment on the human brain with such a simple experiment as memorizing lists of words. The human brain is much more complicated. So they suggested that the long-term memory might have more types. And we've talked about that before in the first video, like the episodic, the semantic, and the procedural.